Welcome to Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and podcast. We hope that by the end of our show, you're left feeling empowered, motivated, and connected. So come on in the room, grab your favorite drink, sit back, and enjoy the ride, because you're finally at home at Keever's Place. Now give it up for our host and producer, Coach Keever Murdaugh.
Hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and podcast. I am your host and producer, Coach Keever Murdaugh, and this is a place where we have authentic conversations in a place that feels like home. That's why we call it Keever's Place, right? So tonight in our virtual studio, we have an amazing guest. She does a lot of things for not only her own community, but various communities globally across the world. She's an international missionary. She's a coach. She's a pastor. She's a martial artist. She's an author. She's just an all-around wonderful woman. So I'm so excited to have her in Keever's Place tonight. So without further ado, we're going to introduce and bring to the stage Evangelist Sybil Davis-Highdale so we can converse and learn a little bit more about her. So welcome to Keever's Place. How are you? We're having a little technical difficulties with her camera right now. Let's see. Okay, I seem to have lost her. Please forgive me. As you know, in the world of TV and podcasting and broadcasting, sometimes you just have those technical difficulties moments. And unfortunately, she is experiencing a little bit of technical issues with her camera, but hopefully she will be with us soon. So until she gets back online, I just want to just let you know about a couple things we have going on right now. I was going to do our announcements towards the end of the show. So hopefully Ms. Sybil can just hop back on and we can continue her interview. So for now, we'll go ahead and get our announcements out the way now. Okay. So I just want to remind you all that we still have a couple of spots available for our Imperfectly Fierce and Focused anthology. Hello, somebody. We still have a couple of spots available, and we're looking for basically anybody that know and embrace that they are imperfectly fierce, but still yet focused and can get things done. So you still have an opportunity to register for the anthology, to be a co-author and speaker, because we're doing more than just the anthology project itself. We're going to do the actual book. We're going to do some conferences, and we have some more things planned from this anthology. So go to www.tinyurl.com/IFF-inquiry if you are still wanting to be a co-author in Imperfectly Fierce and Focused. Like I said, we just have a couple more spots available. So go ahead and secure your spot in this great project, okay? It's going to be amazing, and it's a great way to start 2023. Hello, somebody, by blessing somebody, encouraging and uplifting somebody to be the best version of themselves. So that's what this anthology is about. So go ahead and register, and I will pop that on a little bit later on in this show, because it looks like Miss Sybil is back online with us. So thank you for just sticking in there with us. Let's go ahead and try to bring her back on stage right now. So welcome again. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Thank you so much. I hear you great. Thank you. How do you hear me?
Perfectly. Thank you so much. I know that we are having a little bit of technical difficulties, but I pray that everything from this moment on will continue to progress and it turned out to be a great show. So I read a little bit about you, and you are a very well-rounded woman. So just tell us a little bit more about who Miss Sybil is.
Well, I am a very proud grandmother of 5 beautiful grandchildren, 3 in America and 2 in Cambodia. I am, of course, a co-founder of Lost Sheep Calvary Ministries International that started off Lost Sheep Calvary Motorcycle Ministry. So, yes, we're bikers. I am an author, and I love the fact that you're doing this new anthology because since I've been back in America, I've actually written for 3 different ones, even though most of my books were solo. The anthology gives you a great advantage because this way the buyer gets not just a taste of the author that they know, but they are blessed to have the insight and wisdom of so many that they just haven't gotten to know yet that are also just as fabulous. And so it ends up being more powerful. God uses them even greater in my mind because each author will speak to someone differently according to what they need. It's kind of the way God had so many different ministers and ministry styles because we need the different ones to speak to a different category of people.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really glad that you're doing that.
Well, thank you so much for that insight. And I'm so glad that you shared that because that's exactly the message that I have been putting out there. It's a wonderful experience because you get to reach a diverse group of people. And even if they don't grab something from me particularly, like you just said, it may be another individual in the book that just struck a chord that can just literally turn their lives around. So I'm so glad you shared that. And I did not know that you also participated in some anthology projects. So Miss Sybil, I need you to look into this anthology because I would love to have you be a part of this.
Well, thank you. Um, right now I'm in the process of I'm actually working on 2 books right now. It'd be my first solos in a few years because of my platforms. The platform, see, what's great about the fact that me and you met because of Miss Plus America, South Carolina. And this was my actual second year running. The first year was for my granddaughter. The second year I thought was for me. And then I realized I got too much on my plate.
Mm.
But it was all about the stop the hate.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't change. You see, the first year I did Authentically Limitless because I wanted my granddaughter and every other female in the world to know that if you are your authentic self, if you don't fit into everyone else's carbon copy, then therefore God can use you for the purpose you were created for. If we're so busy copying everybody else, then that means there's a facet of God that doesn't get introduced to the world because you're too busy copying somebody else. Nowadays, people are so caught up in the mini me's. I don't want a bunch of mini me's. I want some mini Jesuses. I want that discipleship to not be me discipling someone to be like me, but me discipling someone to be like him.
Mm.
Because he is so much greater. There's too many girls and boys that hate themselves because of their hair texture, their skin color, their dialect. And that self hate is a tool of the enemy. And the reason why Authentically Limitless was so important, but I realized you cannot be authentically limitless in Christ until you stop the hate.
Mm.
And you cannot begin to stop the hate until you first look deep inside of yourself to see what part of you hate. Because it's so much easier to forgive everybody else and to work on, I love them. But it's kind of hard to love someone else if you have no clue how to love yourself. And for me, stop the hate was personal because even though I grew up in a Christian home, and I grew up with minister parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles, Sybil had a big issue with hate. Now, my advantage was I always loved me some me. So I didn't hate me, but I found myself hating whole groups of people just because of one or two incidences. And I was too immature to understand that was one or two people, not a whole group.
That's a very
And I
interesting.
could not.
I'm sorry, not to cut you off.
Well, I realized a
But
lot of us saw it. See, my hate started young.
Are you still there? Okay, I think her sound went out, but hopefully she can get back with us. I think that she was making a very valid point when she was talking about being able to get beyond um hating a whole group of people. Are you back, Miss Sybil? Awesome. Okay,
Yes,
great.
ma'am, ma'am.
Okay, awesome. You froze there for a moment, so I just wanted to make sure that we didn't lose you. I was just adding, I think that you just made a very valid point when you were able to separate a couple of instances or traumatic experiences in your life and not being able to group it to a whole society of people. What do you think actually inspired you to be able to separate the two? Because I'm gonna be honest, it takes a lot of growth and self-searching to get to that point. So what do you contribute to actually being able to grow beyond that moment?
All God. Absolutely all God. And the reason I say that is because I love me some church folks, real church folks, not the perpetrators. And I've been told I have no mercy for perpetrators. I'd rather you be real and in the world or real and in the church. That way we understand each other. But it literally took a girl who loved me in spite of the fact I hated her. I was in high school and there was this young girl who smiled and spoke to me every day. And every day I would glare at her like, why are you speaking to me? I hated the even smile of her. And then one day an incident happened and my dark side came out in front of everybody and aimed at her. And this girl was still concerned about me. I could not comprehend that level of love outside of church and outside of my family. And so it touched me so much, I had to go back and apologize. I'm like, look, I'm sorry. And she didn't say, well, I'm going to think about it or you should be sorry. But instantly she forgave me and said, can we be friends? While she's cleaning up the blood, she's saying, can we be friends? And I am just absolutely amazed. And then that caused me to have to like, wait a minute, hold up. So I even, me being bold like I am, I was like, wait a minute, are you a Christian or something? Are you a Christian? And she was like, oh, no, I've never been to church. And then that really hit me. Here I grew up in church and I got all this hate. This girl hadn't stepped foot in church and yet she was nothing but love. And that caused me to have to take a step back and say, okay, I don't want to be the one who says the God of my mother, the God of my grandmother is still not my God. I knew I couldn't get to heaven on their work. And I knew I needed a relationship. And it was obvious that I was looking the part, acting the part when I needed to, but that wasn't what was in my heart. Mm-hmm. And if she could love me without God, how dare me claim to be a believer and I can't love her with God when
Mm.
God is the God of love.
Come on, Miss Sybil.
And so God God will use some things in your worst days to teach us lessons. And God used that young lady that day. And today she is still my sister. 40 years later, 42 years later.
Wow.
But it was just little incidences like that. That instance made me actually reflect on all my categories. Granted, it was a growing process. You don't, just like you don't forgive instantly one time and it's full. We forgive on levels. We think we forgave somebody until something else pops up and it's like, oh, and then you pull out the layaway. Every wrong thing they did, you put on layaway. You put on layaway. You put on, oh, I forgive you. You didn't forgive them. You just put it on layaway. So then when it comes up and it hits you and you're all up in it, and it's like, but I forgave them. They're just, no, you didn't really forgive them. You just overlooked them or you excused them or you were just waiting to get a big enough justification for your anger or dislike, like that you didn't actually get there. And it's the same thing with hate. We think we've overcome hate and then something will happen. The first thing we say is, that's how those people are. But the moment we said that's how they are, that proves we never stopped hating. We just camouflaged it and lied to ourselves about it. So it's always a process. And even when we have sisters, we're all struggling to learn to love ourselves. We're all struggling to learn to love everything about us. I had a, and when I came into the pageant, I got a coach, and the first thing she told me was, "You're going to have to start wearing wigs." And I'm like, "Why?" I love my hair. I love being natural. Leave me alone. Some days I'm going to be wash and go, and some days, like today, I'm going to do a blowout. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And she was like, "Well, you can't win like that. You're going to have to do wigs. They're not willing to take all of you yet." And I kind of did it heeing and hawing, but still like, well, okay, you may, but I'm still not wearing them straight wigs. I need to have some wave. I need to have something that's ethnic to me.
The texture.
Yeah. And cause even, I got a perm when I broke my right arm just because I couldn't do what I do being right-handed. And I mean, everyone else loved my hair. I hated it. I kept saying, you know what, let's just cut this off and go start all over again. I could not cope with it. I was never that straight girl.
Mm-hmm.
And so coming into the pageant system, it's like, well, why can't we be everything we are? Here I'm saying authentically limitless, and then someone's telling me, oh, but you can't wear kenta, but you can do this. Oh, you need to be blinged. Well, okay, I'm going to have a little taste. I'm going to have a little rebel to my bling. And so I did it my own way, but it still was always that thing of, I still got to fit into your category of what beautiful is, where I think we're beautiful no matter who we are. So, and don't get me wrong, I absolutely love, there is no other pageant system I will ever be in other than Miss Plus America. They rock.
I
They are
love it.
sincere. Yes, you have real sisters there.
Mm-hmm.
And I absolutely love it. But I do find myself just, I'm that rebel. I want to just, oh, I don't want to quite do that. Oh, I'm not going to do this. But then I'm so black and white about spiritual things. Oh, I will not do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of weird, but that's okay because I'm unique.
Exactly. And that's what I really appreciate about anybody such as yourself. And I am the exact same way. And it's funny you said that because, as women, we are already hard on ourselves with just so many things that we have to juggle, we have to deal with, and just the mainstream stereotypes that's already placed on women. especially Black women, so we already have our plates full. So when anybody can just be strong and be able to embrace themselves authentically, I fully, can relate and also appreciate their just being willing to be vulnerable and being true to who they are, because it takes a lot to get to that point. And that's why I'm so drawn to your platform, Stop the Hate, because it's not only, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's not only talking about hating other people, but we have to get to that place internally to where we can love ourselves,
Yes,
every aspect of ourselves, right? We can look in the mirror and embrace all of those roles, especially being a full figured plus size woman. Hello, somebody. It doesn't mean that we cannot stand up and represent to the fullest, because we can and we shall and we should and we are, especially with this particular pageant system. So, I think it's a wonderful platform that you do share with the world about stopping the hate, because we really need to get to that place as women where we can fully embrace every aspect of our being, flaws and all. There's a saying, take me, flaws and all, right? So
absolutely.
I love that. If you had to give any advice to that woman struggling to break outside of that cycle of hating, whether it's herself or something going on in her inner circle, what little nuggets could you provide the next woman to pull her out of that state of mind?
What I usually tell women, actually, what I usually tell people who don't understand that loving of self, because reality, we can't love others. We can't, if we don't love ourselves. We will not be good mates. We will either be overly jealous or we will be overly possessive
Mm.
until
Right.
we learn to love us. We're not going to be fully embraced in anything with anyone else if we're not here first. What I tell women is to stop rehearsing the hurt. See, we rehearse the hurt because one person's called us something or made a comment about something. Instead of thinking about, you know what? When we say mean things to other people, it's normally not about the other people, but we ourselves hurt. Hurt people, hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
So all those little things you heard as a child, that you were to this or to that or to that, it's because the person speaking was dealing with their own pain, their own struggles, and they were just projecting it on you. So first, realize they were hurting and they are not your God. The one who loves you absolutely the most is God, flaws and all, like you said. So why not go to the word and find out what he says about you? I had a group of ladies over in Korea write themselves love letters on their bathroom mirrors. And they did it for them, their family, their children. So every day they would pick a verse that praised themselves. You are wonderfully made. And they would just write it in, dry erasers, and they would leave it on the mirror for the day. So every time anybody goes to the bathroom, when they go to wash their face or wash their hands, they are reminded, I am wonderfully made. Ah, okay. They'd write, I knew you before you were born. There are just hundreds of scriptures, hundreds of many parts of your scripture that tells you that you were created as you are on purpose and for a purpose. So if I would just use the affirmations that God has already put in the Bible for me, I would just, and I kind of am, a little too stuck on myself. No one can tell me nothing. Even if you don't like the way I look, I don't even care. But I've always been like that because I'm a daddy's girl. My daddy always told me everything revolved around me. and I believed it. But a lot of women that don't have that self-love didn't have an opportunity to be a daddy's girl, to be praised. But you know what? Just because he failed, you have a father that loves you even more.
Mhm.
If there's nobody whispering sweet nothings in your ear, then open up the word and say it out loud. Remind yourself every time. My grandfather used to say, because my grandmother was very feisty. She was only 4'10". She was very feisty. And so she would say, Evan, why are you always going to help somebody else? And he would grin. And I asked him one day why. He says, you hear that. But what I hear is, Evan, I need you. I can't live without you. Don't leave me. So he would take what everyone else saw as heard as an insult, he would take as an affirmation of his worth of his bride. He would turn it around. Oh, she just loved me so much. That's why she don't want me to leave. Oh, she can't live without me. Everything she said, no matter what it sounded like to everyone else, it was praise to him. We need to do that with everyone else. When someone spews, you think you're cute? What they're really saying is, I'm so cute, they can't stand it.
Hello. That's some perspective for you. I love that. I'm gonna have to steal that. I love that. And you were so right, because sometimes you are faced with such negativity because people are deflecting from their own pain. So that's a wonderful way for you to be able to have a good perspective and a good solid grounding on being secure with yourself. But that's a good way to be able to turn those negatives into positives. I love that.
Yes. Even when I had one school where I had a teacher who actually said that Black children aren't as smart. I
Okay.
was devastated. I went home and my grandmother said, oh, well, how much schoolwork do you have to do every day? 2 pages of every assignment. Then you do 4. Grandma, how you do 4? And they better be right.
Mm.
I went through 3 grade levels in that 1 year and maintain A's. So that teacher had to accept that what she thought of us was not really of us.
Mm.
And when I did it, the other kids were like, well, why are you doing this extra? Well, my grandmom says that if she thinks I'm dumb, that's an opportunity for me to prove to her how smart I am. So then the other minority children started doing the same thing. So instead of having a class where we were at the bottom, she had to acknowledge that the minorities were all at top.
I
So
like
we
that.
have to learn. When people put us down, that's just an opportunity to prove them wrong.
Hmm.
It's not a way of chaining us down. It's an opportunity to step up.
I love that. And there's nothing wrong with the good old challenge. I can remember going through physical therapy assistant school, and I actually had an advisor to tell me that I was not, I guess, fit the mold of what somebody should look like in the field of physical therapy. This wasn't even that long ago, less than 10 years ago. So I took that opportunity and I did exactly what you were talking about. Honey, that was a challenge to me, and finished top of my class and all that. You can't tell me something I can't do. I love that. And I love that perspective, being able to use those negative opportunities and turn those into fuel to be able to get what you need accomplished to get it done. I like that. I love that. Well, are you still with us, Evangelist Sybil? Looks like you're frozen. Are you still there? Okay, there you are. All right. Well, we are wrapping up our show. Thank you so much for just being here with us, conversing about your platform, Stop the Hate. I feel like you have dropped a lot of nuggets. Oh, her camera's going in and out. But I just want to thank her for being a part of our show. You definitely dropped some very good nuggets on some tips and strategies that people can implement in moving forward and stopping that hating process, whether that's you're hating someone else or you are dealing with self-hate. Sybil has really helped you to realize that true agape love, first of all, comes from God. And if you are truly rooted and grounded in Him, you are pulling those affirmations from His word, then you would have no other choice but to stop the hate and continue to just tell yourselves, just feed yourself those positive affirmations on a daily basis, because it can really change your whole mindset. It starts here in the mind and in the heart. So feed yourself those positive affirmations and trust them and see if things don't start to turn around for you. Evangelist Sybil, it has been an honor to have you here tonight. You are definitely welcome back anytime to Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and podcast. I'm not sure if you can still hear us, but if you can, you can definitely provide some final words. It looks like her camera may be going out. I'm not exactly sure. And I do apologize, friends and family, for some of the technical issues we're having tonight. But hey, this is live. This is live TV, honey. This is live broadcasting. And it happens sometimes to the best of us. You can try to prepare as much as you can. But hey, technical difficulties happen every day. So thank you so much for just bearing with us. I'm not sure if Sybil will be able to hop back on with us, but I thoroughly hope you have enjoyed our broadcast tonight. I'm going to go ahead and drop her information. It looks like she's trying to log back on with us. Let's see if we're able to get her on. Hello, are you there? You're on mute. Okay, I'm not sure if she can hear us, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and drop her information down so that if anybody would like to connect with her, to get to know her better, to get to know more about her missions. We didn't even dive into all of the missionary work that she does. Can you hear me now, Sybil? Okay, I don't think she can hear us, but she is a global missionary. So if you were definitely interested in learning more about her missionary work, definitely follow her. Her website is www.sdavis-highdale.com. That's her website address. And if you're interested in learning more about her church, you can go to www.lostsheepcalvary.com. You can also connect with her on social media. You can find her at her Facebook page, Mrs. Wedgefield SC Plus America 2022. That's her Facebook page. Again, it's Mrs. Wedgefield SC Plus America 2022. And again, I will drop her web address, www.sdavis-highdale.com. So definitely connect with her and just get to know her better. If you have any questions about her platform, if you would love to support her either in the pageant or with her various ministries. We were speaking before the show. She's about to head back to Africa soon. She just recently came from Cambodia. So definitely, if you want to contribute to her missionary causes, definitely reach out to her. I'm sure she would greatly appreciate it, and she would love to hear from you. So definitely check in with her. I just wanted to acknowledge some of our queens that's also in our pageant with us. Miss Ebony Jones Mobley, who is Mrs. Columbia Plus America, South Carolina, says, hello, Queen Sisters. Hi, Queen. Thank you for joining us tonight. I greatly appreciate having you. And Miss South Carolina Plus America 2022-23 said, great job, ladies. So thank you, ladies, for joining us from us. And they are joining us from our Miss South Carolina Plus America pageant. As I stated a couple weeks ago, I am also one of the delegates for 2023. Mrs. Camden Plus America 2023. And I am so excited to be a part of this pageant system. Just like Miss Sybil said earlier, it's a wonderful sisterhood. It's a strong sisterhood. And just to get to know some of the other delegates around the state has been a true honor and a great experience for us all. So thank you, ladies, for joining us once again. All right, before we close out the show, I just wanted to drop that anthology registration link one more time before closing the show. We're going to be hitting the ground running in 2023 with this anthology. So you just have literally a few days, because 2023 is just a couple of days away. So if you would like to be a part of Imperfectly Fierce and Focused, let me just find this registration link. You can definitely go ahead and register. Registration is free. To be a part of the project, of course, there's an investment, but to register is absolutely free. It's a great way for you to learn more about the book and everything that we will be doing with this project. So definitely visit www.tinyurl.com/IFF-inquiry. IFF stands for Imperfectly Fierce and Focused. tinyurl.com/IFF-inquiry. Write it down and go register right now. You only have a couple of days before we start to close it down. If you have any questions about anything about the book or anything that I have coming up, you can definitely connect with me on my digital business card at Linktree. Just go to linktr.ee/Keever Murdaugh. Again, that's Linktree, linktr.ee. There's a dot before the E's /Keever Murdaugh. So definitely connect with me there. You can see everything that I have coming up right there. So thank you so much for joining us again. Definitely tune in next week. We will have another amazing show and another fantastic topic. So definitely tune in. So until next time, family, continue to share, connect, and glow, because we know that building your network also builds your net worth. So thank you again for watching. Peace and blessings. Good night.
Thank you for watching Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and Podcast. Tune in every Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Keever's Place. To be a guest on our show, text the word guest to 803-368-3030 or visit us at tinyurl.com/Keever's Place Book. And watch us on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire as we're broadcasting in more than 60 million homes worldwide.